Ten times, Johnny Carson's Tonight Show went completely off script and created comedy gold that's still talked about. The king of late night ruled television for 30 years, but his most memorable moments weren't written by anyone. Number 10, the streaker incident.
We have Mr. Michael Landon with us. We have a lovely young singer, Miss Gloria Loring.
March 28, 1974 started like any other broadcast, with Johnny delivering his opening monologue to millions of viewers across America. What happened next changed everything. A 6'7", 300-pound figure came barreling across the stage without a stitch of clothing. And that figure turned out to be Pat McCormick, one of The Tonight Show's own writers, who just streaked right past Johnny on live television. The look on Carson's face was pure shock. That week, Ray Stevens' novelty song, The Streak, was sitting at number 1 on the charts because 1974 was the absolute peak of the national streaking craze. But nobody thought it would actually happen on network TV.
Well, I want to tell you. I was so stunned, was that a man or a woman?
NBC censors scrambled to black out the lower half of the screen, which didn't really help since this was broadcasting live and millions had already seen everything.
You don't know where to look. That was the biggest streaker I have ever seen. And I think I know who that was.
McCormick got arrested for indecent exposure afterward, which led to Carson delivering one of his best off-the-cuff lines when he joked that McCormick was released for lack of evidence. That quip became almost as famous as the streaking itself.
I thought you were kidding. That rumor has been going around the studio.
All week?
All week.
Yeah.
Somebody is going to get struck or streaked.
Streak.
And that was the streaky. We just got...
Number 9, Jane Fonda and the Zsa Zsa question.
I got to ask you something.
Sure.
Last night, my son, you were talking about Zsa Zsa Gabor earlier.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
My son said, she was on Johnny Carson's show one time. She came there with a cat on her lap. And she said to you, do you want to pet my pussy?
September 15th, 1989, brought Jane Fonda to Johnny's couch, and she came prepared to address one of the most persistent urban legends in Tonight Show history. And Fonda wanted to know if it really happened.
My son said that you said, I'd love to if you'd remove that cat.
Johnny went silent for a beat, and you could practically hear the entire studio holding its breath. Then came 4 words delivered with absolutely perfect comic timing. I think I would recall that. The audience went wild.
I tell you,
Is it true?
No, I think I would recall that.
Carson had just confirmed that the famous Zsa Zsa cat story was nothing but an urban legend, while simultaneously delivering what became one of the most quoted ad-libbed lines in the show's entire run. Number 8, the Forgotten Punchline.
I know you're not doing well when a guy calls for the paramedics during the monologue. Anybody remember what I was talking about?
December 14th, 1988 gave audiences something they almost never saw, which was Johnny Carson completely blanking out in the middle of his own monologue. The punchline to his joke just vanished from his mind, and for a split second he stood there frozen.
Eisenhower warned us of the, what the hell did he want?
Then something wonderful happened. Instead of powering through or pretending nothing was wrong, he just grinned and broke into genuine laughter right there on camera. And the audience immediately joined him because the flub turned out to be funnier than whatever joke he'd been trying to tell.
But, Ray, why don't I give up? Because I'm show business, folks. That's right.
Carson eventually pulled himself together and finished the monologue. But that moment of spontaneous laughter showed everyone the real Johnny behind the polished host persona. Number 7, Betty White's Elephant Surprise.
Strong. What does she want when she does it?
She's also potty trained.
She's trying to... Well, hold it.
October 5th, 1978. Started with Betty White walking onto The Tonight Show set, except she wasn't alone and she definitely hadn't mentioned her guest to anyone beforehand. White had brought Dondi, a 4-year-old elephant she just worked with on a TV special, and she thought it would make for good television to surprise Johnny with a pachyderm.
Come here. Certainly. That's it. All right, Donnie. Trot. Get that trunk up and you can't get it. Trot. All right, Dondi. Are you ready to go to work? Are you ready to go to work? Dondi, come here. Now, that's Johnny. You ready to go to work?
Good television is one way to describe what happened next. Dondi performed some tricks at first, which seemed charming and under control. But then the massive animal turned its attention to Carson himself.
Johnny, come here to me. Johnny, come here to me.
What is she doing?
Johnny, she just wants to give you a love.
The elephant's trunk wrapped around Johnny and literally tossed him around like he weighed nothing, which led to Carson yelping and leaping backward while trying to escape this 4-ton load that seemed playful to the elephant but terrifying to its target.
No, stay.
The audience couldn't stop laughing as Carson scrambled back to his desk while shaking off Dondi's trunk and grinning despite the chaos unfolding around him.
She says what you don't do is roughhouse with an elephant.
Sure. Tell her to go to hell.
NBC later promoted the episode by claiming Carson was awed by the elephant's affection, which was probably the most diplomatic way possible to describe a grown man being manhandled by a baby elephant on live TV. Number 6, the 2 cheetahs.
These are 2 males, and unfortunately our female was stolen.
Why on earth would somebody...
September 13th, 1974, featured Joan Embery from the San Diego Zoo, who came on the show regularly and always brought exotic animals that made for unpredictable television. This particular night, she'd brought 2 young cheetahs in a cage.
I remember holding one of those on the show.
We'll see what one will do. We
Oh,
held
you don't have to get them
all
out. No, really. No, not if they're comfortable. Don't...
Carson leaned over and said soothingly to the big cats, "Just relax." One of the cheetahs suddenly growled, leapt straight up, and swatted directly at him with claws extended. The shriek that came out of Carson's mouth echoed through the studio as he shot to his feet and pranced across the stage in comic panic. And his destination turned out to be Ed McMahon's arms.
Okay,
They're speaking to you right now.
just relax.
They...
Johnny Carson literally jumped into his sidekick's embrace for safety, which created one of the most replayed animal bloopers in television history.
The lid on the cheetah. The lid on...
Perfectly captured Carson's willingness to commit fully to physical comedy, even when genuinely startled.
Don't bring them back again.
They
Because they're
will-
going to get bigger in this, aren't they?
Right, they'll be
They'll
going
eat
back
my
to...
face next time.
Number 5, the audience member who stole the show.
I read today that George is sending out 90,000 Christmas cards this year. Now, the big question is, will Dan finish licking those envelopes in time? Thank you for your support.
That same December 14th, 1988 episode brought another unusual moment after Johnny recovered from forgetting his punchline.
Speaking of George, the White House is going to have a new dog. What's the dog's name? No, Rex, yeah. Now I know what I'm up against. We got a cruel audience here.
Carson opened the floor for holiday-themed jokes from the audience, which was something he did occasionally to fill time and connect with the crowd. One attendee stood up and delivered a witty quip that absolutely brought down the house. The spontaneous joke got bigger laughs than anything in Carson's prepared material that night, and it takes a secure performer to let that moment breathe instead of trying to top it or move on quickly.
They used to have Lucky. Reagan's had... Great. I'm dying. The guy in the audience is scoring big.
Johnny recognized comedy gold regardless of where it came from. Number 4, the Baboon's surprise.
He's worshipped as an ancestor to human beings. Hey, give me that ring.
How long have you had him under control, Jim?
June 18th, 1981, brought Jim Fowler from Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom to The Tonight Show, and Fowler had brought along a trained hamadryas baboon for what seemed like a standard animal segment.
By the way, you talk to him by doing
During the bit, Fowler told Carson to shake hands with the baboon as a way to show how well-trained and friendly the animal was.
Here's your chair. You want to hold it?
Easy, Doc.
Carson reached out his hand in good faith. The baboon pulled its arm back at the last possible second and smacked Johnny right across the face with a swift blow that caught him completely off guard.
You'll set this chair on.
Man and his monkey.
You'll set this chair on.
Doc, on your chair.
On your Hey, Doc.
The yelp that escaped from Carson mixed with hysterical laughter from the audience. And even though the whole thing turned out to be a staged prank, Carson's genuine reaction made it work as comedy perfection.
Didn't you hear the bell?
Johnny, I do.
Hey, make a nice house bed, Jim.
I knew one of these times, Johnny.
He recovered with his usual good humor and kept the segment going.
Oh, man,
Doc, little few grapes?
You know, it's,
But that baboon had managed to get one over on the king of late night in front of millions of witnesses. Number 3, Shelley Winters versus Oliver Reed.
Women's movement, big in England also?
Always.
Oh, it's all
But
over.
the women in England are quite good. They're always in the kitchen, so you can't hear them when they shout.
You think that's what they should be?
I think that most women are very happy in the kitchen.
The 1975 interview between British actor Oliver Reed and actress Shelley Winters became legendary for reasons that nobody could have predicted. Reed showed up with his reputation for heavy drinking and brash behavior fully intact, and he spent the segment making one inappropriate joke after another about women while growing more belligerent by the minute.
Women are very happy in the kitchen simply because it means that they're feeding their children and looking after their man. I think that the time arises when a woman is put out to work. That's a bad deal because then they're going to fight who's going to cook and who's going to wash up. I think that a woman's place is looking after her man and her children.
When Reed declared that women's liberation will never survive, and then barked, "Shh! Quiet, woman!" Winters stood up and walked off stage while the audience went completely silent because nobody knew what was happening or whether she was coming back. She came back holding a glass of whiskey. Reed stood up to confront her, but Winters dumped the entire drink on his head before storming off again, which caused the studio audience to erupt into cheers and whistles that lasted for several seconds.
The women's liberationists, if they thought about that, shh, quiet, woman.
Reed sat back down, dripping wet, and continued his interview while deadpanning about what had just happened. But the moment had already cemented itself as an on-air feminist stand and one of Carson's wildest guest conflicts ever captured on tape.
But then I shall stay here until it dries.
I hope you just lick it off.
Johnny handled the chaos with his usual grace, though even he seemed genuinely stunned by what had unfolded right there on his stage. Number 2. Ed Ames and the Tomahawk.
Let go of the tomahawk and zonk right in the very embarrassing region. And the audience absolutely collapsed and laughed for 2 or 3 minutes straight. It looked like something we had done electronically, and you couldn't have done it again if you'd have stood there for a century trying to do it.
April 27, 1965, featured singer and actor Ed Ames, who'd been appearing on the show Daniel Boone and wanted to demonstrate a comedic rope and tomahawk routine he'd learned for the role. The bit required Ames to throw a tomahawk at a target, which seemed simple enough until he actually threw it. Johnny fracked, "I didn't even know you were Jewish," which referred to where the tomahawk had landed on the target and brought the house down.
I didn't even know you were Jewish.
Flood after flood of fan mail arrived at NBC requesting that the segment be rebroadcast on anniversary specials, and Carson later called it the most magical moment of the entire show's run.
Welcome to Frontier Bridge.
The incident became a masterclass in salvaging live mishaps through quick wit and fearless humor. Number 1. Poncho the Singing Parrot.
What kind of a bird is this?
He's a double yellow-headed Amazon parrot. What do you say when you see a bird fly over, Poncho? What do you say? What you doing up there?
September 16th, 1981, brought animal trainer David Frank and his star attraction Poncho to The Tonight Show. And Poncho happened to be a double yellow-headed Amazon parrot with abilities that nobody in the studio expected.
Say hi.
Hi.
Good. Okay, that's one.
Can you say that a little softer?
Hi.
Carson had joked for years that bird guests were usually terrible because they'd sit there silently or squawk at exactly the wrong moments, so his expectations were pretty low. Poncho changed everything.
Belly high. Attaboy, Poncho.
The parrot performed songs on command, including a rendition of "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" that came out with remarkable clarity and pitch, and Carson's astonishment was written all over his face.
How about I left my heart in San Francisco? I? No, I. I left.
He told Frank that Poncho was truly something special, which later retrospectives confirmed was an understatement. What made this moment special was that it represented the flip side of off-script television, where everything went right instead of wrong, but still caught everyone completely off guard.
Here we go. Springtime. When it's springtime.
The Friendly Bird's surprising musical talents created a lighthearted and delightful segment that showed another dimension of what made The Tonight Show work for 3 decades. These 10 moments represent something that made Johnny Carson and The Tonight Show irreplaceable in television history. Carson spent 30 years proving that the best television doesn't always follow a script, and his ability to turn surprises, mishaps, and complete chaos into comedy, gold remains unmatched to this day. Whether a writer was streaking across his stage, an elephant was tossing him around, or Jane Fonda was setting up the perfect comeback line, Carson had this gift for making live television magic out of whatever came his way. The 2025 celebration of his centennial included retrospectives that singled out many of these exact events as classic Tonight Show highlights that defined his legacy. These clips still circulate online and pop up in late-night retrospectives years later because they remind everyone why Johnny Carson wasn't just another host reading cue cards. He was a master improviser who understood that sometimes the best moments in television are the ones that nobody planned, nobody wrote, and nobody could have predicted.